Okay, let's try this again. Hello, my name is Aller0. I'm sure you guys are aware. Um, this is going to be a redo of the first part of my Secret of Evermore stream because I made a huge goof and couldn't repair it. I accidentally deleted the first video in this series. So, you're going to bear with me as I basically replay through the opening section of the game up until where my stream stopped the last time so that I can re-upload this and repair the damage done, so to speak. So, um, I'm going to attempt to recreate some of the dialogue I went through the first time I played this. Bear with me. Maybe a little weird, maybe not. We'll see. Without further ado, I present to you The Secret of Evermore. One other thing that you'll notice is my formatting and presentation for this is a little better the second time around. I thought better of how I had this whole thing done, framed initially because Square-Enix games obviously were old school stuff. They're designed for a 4:3 screen, which actually gives me a little more leeway, to frame stuff a little differently, and also my camera's widescreen now, which I don't remember if I had my widescreen camera before. But now you'll actually have the full game on screen at all times, and then I'll be over here. So there's that. I don't know if you noticed a second ago, but the chat is now above me and off screen, so you'll actually be able to see the entire game window at all times and me, which is nice. So, learned a few things since I did this stream initially. Another thing that I really can't get over, the music in this game was composed by Jeremy Soule. Fantastic composer. A lot of people nowadays, if you haven't been playing games for a while, will probably remember him most famously recently from Skyrim. But he's done absolutely tons and tons of music. He's done stuff for the Sonic franchise. He's done stuff for Square-Enix. He's done just nutty stuff. Anyway, Secret of Evermore came out in, I believe it says 95 when it gets up there. This was released after Secret of Mana, when Square decided to open a US studio for a brief moment. I'm not really even sure where they were going with that, to be honest with you. This was the only game that they made. It follows very much in the vein of Secret of Mana. It does some things well, and it does other things differently. I mean, I can't really say that it was horrible. But as we go through it, I'll try and point out some of the things. As you can see, the previous save that I made, where I had completed the game on stream, start to finish, is right here. I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be starting a brand new game with the same name and the same, character. So we are going to be Bob. Bob. Bob, oh, Bob. Hopefully I can get this done without too much fuss, because I feel like an absolute dunce for doing what I did. Okay, so this takes place in 1965, right? It's interesting to note that what we're about to see is the past, and then when we're actually playing the game is 30 years later in 1995. The experiment concludes. Oh, interesting. I never really got the aesthetic of the outside of this guy's house. That seems strange. Even for a mansion, it seems strange. Because usually it's just Roman pillars on the outside, and you have all the art inside, but, I mean... still trying to figure out exactly what was different. What is that? I'm still trying to figure out exactly what went wrong in the experiment because it seems like he was adjusting settings and then something blew up. But I don't know. What are you doing? No! Get back! I swear. Dogs these days. I do find it kind of interesting, though. This is 95, and he took his dog to the theater. I've never seen, or at least back then, I can't remember any dogs being allowed in theaters. I mean, now we have emotional support animals. But, I mean, off-leash seems odd in 95. I don't even want to know what he stepped in. Random menagerie of things in this guy's house. Okay, so we find ourselves in the attic or basement, or probably the basement. It looks dangerous. It looks very dangerous. You know, your dog's not terribly bright if he walks into some random place and starts chewing on wires as a matter of course, and you don't even seem surprised by it either. That's just amazing. Hey, there's that same explosion again. I wonder what happened. Oh, hello. He doesn't look shady at all. Nah. The exaggerated animations are another thing that you can kind of you can see the differences in aesthetic design choices between the U.S. studio and the Japan studio. The animations too, the character models and everything, it's got a more, I don't know, American feel to it. Thanks, dude. That's a good question. Cool. This feels like attempted murder to me because he sent me into this room knowing what was in here. I swear, if I'm doing so badly that I die on the first encounter today, I'm going to put down my controller and probably not play this again. The fact that I fired the bazooka more than twice is actually insulting to me right now. Hmm? Why did I fire my bazooka in an enclosed space? But yeah, it strikes me now that I'm looking at this scene again, that actually does kind of feel like attempted murder. He was trying to dispose of us. Definitely trying to dispose of us. Definitely trying to dispose of us. Okay, so, first thing you're... Ugh, Jesus. First thing you're gonna notice is, that the game has a very similar playstyle to Secret of Mana because it's based on the same engine, just with a couple of upgrades. Um, Combat is almost identical. Major difference being the way that they handled the weapon, well, not the leveling system so much as the charging system. Whereas Secret of Mana had, 8 different weapons with 8 levels of charge each. Secret of Evermore kind of tries to streamline that by making it 4 different weapons, 3 of which are melee, 1 of which is that nutty bazooka that you saw a little while ago, which I will not be getting back until very, very late in the game. And but not where you think, which is the interesting part. And the weapons have effectively 2 levels of charge, 3 levels of charge technically, but it's only 2 levels of held charge. So your basic charge is level 1. You swing, it recharges back to 100%. There is a level 1 charge, which does a slightly stronger attack, and then a level 2 charge, which does a much stronger attack. And the damage scaling kind of is based on that. So your regular attack does what would be considered normal damage, I guess. If you continue to just swing wildly, it does a lot less. Usually somewhere around the 0-ish kind of mark, but in some instances it can be useful to just flail wildly at the enemies. But your full charge, or your fully restored action bar, gives you a regular attack. And once I have see, like, some enemies are weak enough where just flailing at them is good enough. Just like Secret of Mana, you can switch back and forth between the characters. So you can play as the dog, you can play as the boy, Bob. When you're controlling the dog, if you hold down the L or R buttons, all right, Bob, don't get yourself murdered here. When you hold down the L or R buttons, you can have the dog kind of sniff around to see if there's anything in the area, which is really useful because 9 times out of 10, what he's sniffing for are alchemy items that are hidden in the environment. It's a nice little touch. It gives you something to do, more exploration options as you're playing. I mean, he's got pretty decent range for it too, which is the other thing that I always found kind of surprising. How far he'll walk to sniff things out. And the alchemy ingredients in general tend to make sense, if that makes any sense how I'm saying it. When you're around, natural environments, you'll tend to find roots near the base of trees. You'll find water in pools of water. You'll find oils in places with oily. You'll find oil near oily environments, or swamps and things like that. Stop hitting me. It's disgusting. But I'm just gonna play through. Oh, and another thing that's different about this, because it's a little more treasure and exploration rewardy kind of game, as fits with the design aesthetic of Square USA. You don't start the game with the ability to run the way that you did in Secret of Mana. Instead, you, over the course of the game, acquire different trinkets and talismans that give you new abilities. So, run is not one of the ones that you start with. You acquire that kind of quickly. I mean, it's something that we'll get to almost immediately. But there's other ones that give you, like, increased HP or better spellcasting ability or stuff like that. And since I mentioned spellcasting ability now, the biggest difference, I'd say, between Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana in terms of gameplay would be the magic system. On its face, it effectively works the same. The only difference is, rather than your character managing a magic point pool, you will be, you have alchemy ingredients. It's alchemy that you're using, not magic, not true magic. It functionally works like magic, but what you're doing is altered. You're combining elements to make an effect. What I'm going to be doing for a couple of minutes, and I'll probably get real quiet as I do it because it's just the long, boring tedium. Back in the days when games like this used to come out, there was a pretty decent rule of thumb that I picked up. If you gain 5 levels at the beginning of any RPG, in general, it'll set you up in a good position to not really. You'll be pretty well off. You'll have enough money to get the things that matter. You'll have enough experience on your character that the enemies won't be too high above your level. And as long as you continue to follow that function, just not avoiding combat or things like that, you'll usually be in the position that the game wants you to be in. I mean, I know that kind of applies to any game, but there are some games, especially later on as gaming developed, that you can kind of get away with not following a rule like that because the games are designed in such a way that they kind of account for, inexperience and things like that. Whereas this game in particular, because of the way that the hitboxes are designed and how the enemies move, can be quite unforgiving in times. I mean, the enemies in this game can and will kill you given half a chance, so be careful out there. And as you will see in, I believe it was the second part of this series, I make that mistake myself, actually. I get into a situation where I'm not paying attention and I'm not being quite as cautious as I usually would, and I actually get my socks rocked once or twice. Which is funny because usually when I play this game I don't die, or at least not now. So I'm going to attempt to avoid death. So anyway, yeah, just give me a couple of minutes. Let me get myself to where I want to be. Oh, and another difference between Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana, when enemies die sometimes, they leave their kind of dead carcass behind. If you investigate them, usually you'll find healing items and things like that to kind of assist you on your journey. Which is helpful. At least until you start picking up the magic, but even after magic, the healing items are super useful because they're instant. Whereas magic takes a second to come off. And much like my Secret of Mana live stream, which you can go back and watch on YouTube also, magic can and can't save you in this game in the same way that it did in the original Secret of Mana. It didn't dawn on me until I was thinking about it a couple of nights ago. But I think they actually worked that out, that was an unintended consequence of the way that the magic system was designed in Secret of Mana, and they fixed it for this game. So if you cast a spell, or if you use alchemy, it doesn't negate you taking damage the way that it did in the original version of Secret of Mana. What it does is kind of put it in a stack so that you are healed and then you take the damage afterward. Because in Secret of Mana, once you got Cure Water, you were effectively immortal as long as you were quick at the draw with your spell list. Don't hit my dog. But in Secret of Evermore, especially toward the end of the game, there are some enemies that, much like you can, because I'm not saying that you can abuse the magic system in this game, but there are a couple of enemies in this game, there aren't many, but there are some enemies that are primarily spellcasters and will absolutely rock your world before you can even realize what's going on in a lot of instances. Because that one enemy that I'm talking about, you encounter him about 3/4 of the way through the game, and he will just destroy you because he has spells that, one, you don't have access to at that point, and two, are way above your pay grade if you're not prepared for them. Come on. And as you'll recall from my Secret Mana stream, in order for you to improve your proficiency with the weapon, which makes absolute sense, you have to use the weapon. So the more you fight with the weapon, the more enemies you get the killing blow on specifically. The more you will gain experience with the weapon. Right now it's level 1 with 64 bits of experience, I guess you could call it. The dog kind of functions the same way, but he doesn't have weapons, so it's just his attack skill. But that's how you gain your ability to charge your weapon to do more damage. So what I'm trying to do is strengthen my bone. Yes, I'm trying to bone up, as it were. I'll see myself out. So that my Femur of Fury has a level 1 charge, but I need to also make sure I don't neglect the dog, because the dog is way stronger than I am, and will prove invaluable in combat to come. So, I'm just going to finish off my leveling here. Probably be the only time that I kind of dead stop my my run in order to level up. Because, to my knowledge, I don't remember you having to really do it all that much after. The other thing you're probably going to notice in this replay is that my movements as I'm playing seem a little more fluid this time around, and that's because, for whatever reason, when I was playing before, my controller was not being cooperative, and I was being forced to use the analog stick for what I would normally want to use the D-pad for. But I've since fixed that, and no issue going forward. The other thing that's going to help me here as I'm redoing this is that I'm awake this time, whereas when I started the last long play, by the time I got to the end of this section, I was half asleep, so hopefully hopefully we won't be in that position. I'm hoping that this won't be as long a stream. But to be perfectly honest, I don't remember how long it took me to do that. I'm gonna assume it was at least 5 hours, though. I really don't want to waste an entire hour doing just this. But once I get into the position I want to be in, I'm going to be moving at a pretty good clip, or at least I'm going to attempt to. Because I want to get this done, and I'm sure you guys want me to get this done, so that I can move on to bigger and better things. Ow. There's that whole get careless thing. Because like I said, the enemies, the way that the hitboxes are set up, the enemies in this game can and will take advantage of you, and will absolutely ruin you if you give them half a chance. Like, I shouldn't be walking around with 14 HP, but I know where the enemy's path of attack is, so I can at least avoid them. How close am I to a level? And then the most dangerous thing becomes mosquitoes, because they can hit you regardless, and they have really high evade. Oh, and that's another thing, if you need it. Assuming you want to, just kind of go off on your own and do something, you can sit the dog somewhere by just holding the L or R buttons, and he'll just sniff. And he'll stay right where he is unless he catches scent of something in the environment, in which case he'll wander off. But generally speaking, if you just need to sit him somewhere, you can have him sniff and he'll stay where you want. Okay. Almost level 1. Naughty shrubbery. You will pay for your insolence. So weird doing this with no audience participation. Then again, I guess I'm kinda used to that. Yay, okay, Bone Crusher's level 1, or level 2. So now, as opposed to just having the regular attack, I have a charged attack, which does a little more damage and has a little more range, which is nice because range is always good. What level am I? I'm level 4, one more. And actually, what I'd really like is for the dog to get his attack. Here's a little spoiler for what's to come, because it's so weird me calling him just the dog. I'm gonna name him Rusty. I almost always name him Rusty for whatever reason when I play this game. Now notice I'm letting the dog get the killing blow, and that's specifically to help get him his level 1 charge attack. Oh, well. The nice thing about the dog is since there's only a total of 3 levels of attacks. There's your level 1, which is your swing, your level 2, which is the first charge, and your level 3, which is the second charge. The dog doesn't switch weapons. His attack is just bite bark. So he only has a total of 2 levels of charge ever. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but his damage scaling outpaces you by leaps and bounds. So while his attack is very short range melee, its damage output is way more than Bob's is. And I guarantee you, as we play through the game, Rusty will be the first one of us to do the maximum damage in one hit, which once upon a time was 999. Although that's another interesting little thing that this game changed from Secret of Mana. In Secret of Mana, 999 was the absolute most that you could hit in any single attack. But and it was the maximum amount of damage that could register on the screen at any given time. In this, though, if you continue to damage a single enemy, you can actually exceed that 999 numerical damage limit as far as what displays. I think the most I've ever done was somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,500. Well, no, probably more than that. It's the most that I remember recently. I want to say somewhere around 3,500 to 4,000 damage on screen, just from the damage stacking that I did with different spells, different attacks. But yeah, a lot of that comes from being in the last area and using the dog because of how much damage she does. He's got a long way to go. Alright, so let's just kind of mosey because I'm already half an hour in here. And realistically, I can kind of do this without him. He'll get his... Oh, I didn't change the... I'll do it later. Rusty! Murder! Ow. Don't stand in front of raptors, bad. Rusty, don't stand in front of raptors. Rusty, please! Control yourself, stop dying. Rusty's just a dog. Okay, I'm getting absolutely destroyed for some reason. Oh, there actually was something in here. I don't know how that raptor learned how to teleport, but it's pretty amazing. Because those bushes aren't even connected. Would you please stop injuring my dog? Okay, so that happened. Oh, let me do this before I forget. I honestly don't remember which one I used. I think it was this one. Was it? Was it that one? I don't remember. Was it that one? That's the one that I used. Which frame would I have used? Was it this one? No, I don't think that's the one I used either. Doesn't look familiar enough. Yes, that boy. Now you sell armor, do you? Yeah, I really don't remember which frame I used. I don't think it was this one, but it might have been. I don't know. Could you move, please, old man, before I have to kill you? Oh yeah, always talk to the NPCs because sometimes they'll just give you stuff. And getting free armor is always nice because it's less money you have to spend. What a novel thought. So now let's go buy some armor. Hey, armor salesman. Let's see, I have that, so let's buy this and this and... Oh wow, I'm actually too broke to buy the collar. I'm insulted. Well, I'm technically more important than Rusty is anyway. Alright, so let's go talk to Fire Eyes real quick. Yeah, I know that wasn't the frame that I used. She just walks out, what? Dog. a lot of bad B-movie references over the course of this game. First alchemy spell. Flash is actually pretty useful too. 1 part wax, 2 parts oil. And much like Secret of Mana, magic levels up as you use it. There are some spells in this game that scale really well. Flash actually isn't too bad, but there's better fire-based spells later on that scale better. But the healing magic in particular scales super nicely. I don't even have anything to use it yet. Thank you. Alright, so take a right and go help Strongheart. Oh, we can do that. Yeah, alchemy ingredients are expensive too. Or can be, at least. But they're abundant, so it's not super difficult to come across them. Oh yeah, and if you talk to people as the dog, they'll say different stuff to you, which is really neat. Ferocious looking animal. The dog walks so slow. So I guess I just used the thin one? Okay. Oh my god. He just kind of plods along like the lumbering bear that he is. Do I have enough? I do not have enough. Oh well, I guess you're going commando, Rusty. Come on, guy, let's go. Funny enough, you'll collect a lot of root before you even get the first spell that utilizes it. I want you all to know that I am committing the cardinal sin of not saving. So if I die, and there's a fair possibility I might, I deserve it. I know there's a picture of these enemies in the instruction manual, but I don't really remember what they look like all that well. Ideally, I'd like for Rusty to get his attack before we get to the first boss, because it will be helpful. And Rusty's damage scaling is the stuff of legend. What do you got, boy? Some ruts? That's another thing that the dog's kind of got going for him, is he has this weird, almost multi-attack that he can kind of do. Like, if he gets interrupted in the middle of an attack, there's a, I don't know, it almost seems like about a 50% chance he'll do it again. Hello? Free with any purchase, huh? Well, that's cheap enough. And now, utilizing my ATB bar, I can run. But that's another thing that they fixed from Secret of Mana, was in Secret of Mana you could only run in one of the 4 cardinal directions. In this, and also in Secret of Mana 2, which they never released over here, but I probably will be playing on stream at some point, you can run omnidirectionally as long as you have ATB. Although in Secret of Mana 2 they changed even that, where there's no ATB bar determining your what you can do. You can just run forever. Which realistically, I mean, is it's a lot better as far as navigating terrain quickly. I mean, nobody wants to be beholden to the rules of running. Even though in this game there are ways to break even that. Oh, damn it. There are ways to break even that. No. Let's not spend too much time out here. Trying to get Rusty the final hits here so he can get his level 1 charge up. Rusty, murder. Thank you. I don't know if you guys got that subtle little thing there. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I don't even know why this little area right here is a thing, but alright. That's disgusting. Hey, Rusty got some free HP. I'm gonna swing my mighty boner around. Wait. And it is indeed very mighty. Alright, now we're getting into the thick of things. Now. Good boy, Rusty. Murder. Yes, Rusty. Murder some more. Yes, Rusty. Do it. What are you smelling over here? A whole lot of nothing, apparently. Maggots. Giant maggots. If I saw a maggot that was about my size crawling toward me, I don't care how fast or how slow it was crawling, I'd still run. Or at the very least stab it and then run. Because if there are maggots that big, then there are flies that are bigger. And that's the last thing I want to see. Rusty. Rusty. Thank you. Hello. Uncommitted the cardinal sin of not saving, so at least in the event something unspeakable happens, I won't be so far back that I'll regret it. But as I was saying before about the game's design aesthetic, rather than them having, you know, bright, colorful music for everywhere, or just music in general, there's a lot more ambience. So, you know, we're in effectively a tar swamp. So, you know, it sounds like a tar swamp. And there are, you know, there are musical tracks in the game, but they're used very sparingly. And most of the times that they're used, you can tell that they had a reasoning behind why. So yeah, the sound design in this game was pretty nicely done. And that starts to get in waste not, want not territory. If you have the opportunity to heal yourself, do so. What are you sniffing out? That's disgusting. Yeah, I'm thinking Rusty's not gonna get his level 1 attack before we hit the first boss, which is really unfortunate. I mean, he might, I don't know, he might. Just kind of wait it out, I guess. Alright, give me some maggots. Maggot. Let's see if I actually remember the path first try. That would be a no. Rusty! Thank you. How have I not gained a level yet? That means that I will give it to Rusty. Oh, it was Nectar. Wonderful. Damn it. I guess that's a no on the second try. That's another thing that was always kind of interesting about this game is some of the puzzles. They're environmental puzzles, so it's like wandering around in the dark or whatever have you. But a lot of them tend to be annoying if you don't know the exact path through. No, it's not. Damn it. What was the next one over? Okay, so it's this way, and then up, and then over, and then to the right, and then to the right. And then up, and then up again. Press 8. Ow! Wait, what'd you smell? Nothing, okay. I got it. I don't know who got the kill for that. We're smelling something, okay. Good boy. Trying to give myself every opportunity here to level up my dog. Don't hit my dog. Oh, okay. Get him, boy. Oh no. I can use the flash 6 times. That's encouraging. Anybody else getting kind of an Aliens vibe from this thing? There is a fair chance that he may actually get his, Alright, we gotta give this guy some heartburn. By the way, never trust the boss. Case in point. Oh, since I have an opportunity to show it off, you can effectively cast as many copies of the spell as you're able before it hits the floor. Switch to the dog to do it. So basically, up until the enemy actually takes the damage, you're able to... Really? Do you, Rusty? Kill him. But yeah, as I said, healing items are instant, whereas magic takes a couple of seconds to come off. Rusty, no! Oh, okay. I don't even know what Thrax is supposed to be, other than disgusting. Supposed to be a spider of some sort. Yeah, you filthy ridden dog. Interesting. So he's technically not from around these parts. Cool. Okay, and this is probably where you notice the biggest difference between how the weapons swing. When you don't have your level 1, you get kind of a chintzy, wussy swing that kind of goes wild. When you do, it's an overhead swing, and it's a lot more powerful. A lot more powerful. Mammoth guard, you say? Hey, free armor. Rusty. I need you to knuckle up here and get some attack. Oh yeah, and now that I have the spider claw, I can cut down vegetation. Every adventurer needs a hand axe. Good boy, Rusty. Very useful against vegetation. Really? Rusty! Thank you. Oh. Alright, let's go, talk to Fire Eyes. Ruts. Sometimes the where of where he sniffs can be misleading. Because it's not always necessarily exactly where he is, it's kind of around it. And sometimes he just sniffs like an idiot. That's great. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be bad for the humans around here. And it's also interesting to note that she is aware that she's been here for 30 years. But she's still a little girl. She hasn't aged at all. Where would you ever get that idea that he's one of those creatures from the volcano? Rusty! Murder! Rusty! You're killing me here. Now I can go to all those secret locations that I couldn't get to before. I'm so excited. Oh, shell hat. I like equipment. Oh yeah, and by the way, when a game tells you that somebody's gone somewhere over and over again, go visit them. Oh. Hey, there's that hole I haven't saved in a while thing. Yes. As is my habit, I usually keep my healing spells higher up on the list. Hey, I actually have money now. Thank you, sir. And I saved myself 250 talons for, saving a guy's life. But yeah, talk to people with the dog. Not everybody, but there are a couple of people who will give him items over the course of the game. Usually his collar. And he only gets, I think, 4 collars over the entire game. Rusty. Oh, notice he no longer takes damage from most of these guys. That'll be a running theme as the game goes on. I must have missed your hut the last time. Yeah, actually, I did miss your hut the last time I was here. Thank you, old man. Okay. Uh-oh. The atmosphere of the, or the tone of the environment has changed. We have a new enemy, and these are super dangerous, especially for this early in the game, so watch yourself when you're walking around here. Rusty, what are you sniffing at? But yeah, unlike the flowers in the first area, these guys are like Venus flytraps and will attempt to literally eat you. So ideally, you want to stay away from these guys. You can still 1-2 punching with Rusty's help, which is good. Rusty! Rusty! Good dog. Oh, for the love of God. Hello, person in the cave. Well, the only thing I don't have is the shell plate. You'll also notice that I don't really sell any of the equipment that I cast off as I go through this. It's not really worth it in most instances because you get nothing for it. There's a rock blocking that path. There we go. Rusty's attack is now level 2. And that's important because Rusty's kind of a beast. Oh, now we're starting to get to some enemies that have funky hitboxes or attack patterns. Spiders are dangerous. And they also poison you, which is why it's very convenient that we got that cure spell. I swing wildly because I'm insane. I probably should have bought some more flash. Alright. Oh no! These guys have to die. Oh boy. Dying on my watch, buddy. Rusty, come on. That's another difference between this game and Secret of Mana is you can gain levels during effectively boss fights. Rusty, what did I tell you about dying? Stay put for a second. You hit hard. You have to set him to do that. He won't charge on his own unless you tell him to. Rusty, destroy! There we go. That's that delicious damage I was looking for. And now I have the weapon that I probably won't stop using. The spear in general is the best overall melee weapon in the game. Hello. I say no to that? Now we're talking. Give me the heal spell. This is going to be your best friend as you go through this game. Generally, you'll find the ingredients for it everywhere, so it's abundant enough that you can use, you know, almost as much as you want. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It heals you. So all that nasty damage you're taking from the monsters, you not necessarily start shrugging it off, but you can manage it a little better. Rusty. Oh, and the other thing that's nice about the spear, which is why I say it's in general the best weapon in the game, it can cut down foliage, which is important. It does about the same damage as everything else, although it's got kind of a weird arcing swing when you attack with it. But the important thing about it is its charge attacks are ranged, and range is important. 30 talons? Free sleep? Sure, why not? All ends are save points, so may as well. Later. So yeah, it is. This will probably be the. Oh my God, Rusty! Rusty! For the love of God, help your master. I just healed that HP. Coincidentally, I just got the heal spell. We should expect to be using a lot of that. So yeah, it heals roughly in the ballpark of about 30 HP when you first get it. That will increase significantly as you level up. Oh, come on! Now, as I said before, this game has a way of abusing you. So, make sure you abuse it right back. Where would I be without this heal spell that I conveniently acquired from an NPC 5 seconds ago? And you can cast it on, you know, yourself and the dog. Just like Secret of Mana. So yeah, that whole water root thing is very important. Hold on. I actually don't remember what this does. See, unlike you, Rusty, I'll actually get you out of a bind. Oh, come on! Next time I find somebody who's selling water and root, I'm stocking up. That was almost it. I only have 13 uses of this left already. Okay. Where are we going? Getting a little tired of all your shenanigans there. Oh, 10? Oh, God. I am actually going to detour back to an earlier area to not get ruined as badly as I'm getting ruined and go kill some enemies quick. Because while realistically fighting, you know, stronger enemies is better, because you get more experience and more money, at the same token, I am absolutely depleting my resources doing it. Before I do that. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. As Rusty utterly destroys them for me. Oh, we got some dino skin, huh? Hey, free armor's free armor. Can't complain too much. Getting just a little tired of all this damage I'm taking. Let him go. Wow, that was something. Alright, so... Spider. Spider bad. That's disgusting. Get him, Rusty. Woo! Hey, there's a guy sitting on this volcano. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, balls. Yes. Bye. Okay, so I know how to levitate, and I need to go find mud peppers. Mud peppers are not too far from here, actually. I'm just getting wrecked by these guys. Rusty, no. Oh my god, stop attempting to eat my dog. Oh, Rusty. Thank you. can't wait to get the charge on this thing. Oh. Almost missed it. Okay, so there's another swamp. Not Bug Mud. This is, Frog Freak Swamp or whatever. But Frog Freaks are super dangerous. Rusty has no problem with them. This weapon, though, does not really accommodate well in Frog Freak Swamp. Because they attack so fast. Small hitbox and attack really, really fast. Enjoy eating them, Rusty. I'm totally fine with it. See? Good. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm probably going to take a detour back to town and not die. Seriously. Yeah, we're gonna go stock up on alchemy ingredients and like sleep and save and level up the spear. Rusty will have his level 3 attack in no time. Because that's just how these things go. How did I even get hit by that? That's that boulder that, what's his name was talking about. Oh my God, Rusty something. We are almost 2 hours into this adventure, and I feel like I'm doing worse this time than I did the last time I played it, which is kind of miraculous. Alright. Strongheart. Where's the inn? First things first. Let's go see a man about a recipe. At this point, there is no amount of money I won't pay to make sure that I don't run out of healing. Granted, water's pretty easy to come by, but, actually, water and root are easy to come by in this area, but still. I want to make sure that I can spam that as much as I want, because that's better than buying healing items at this point. Now, the second thing I'm going to do is level up the spear, because once I have the spear leveled, that horrible swamp that I'm heading to will be a lot easier to manage. Actually, there's a much better area to do this in. That area that leads toward Bugmuck Swamp has more enemies closer together. You can still hit me. Okay, what's going on here? I don't know why you get wax from these guys when their shells are made of chitin, but... Alright, how are we doing now? 90, good, thank God. Okay, so with the spear at level 2, or yeah, with the spear at level 2, we have ranged attack. So we don't have to be near enemies with weird hitboxes in order to kill them. Granted, the level 2 charge has a very slow throw, but it's still better than the alternative. And that's not to say that I don't want it at level 2, because at level 2 charge hits way harder and goes way farther and faster. Rusty! Rusty! It's almost like you don't like me or something. Alright, so now that those two little distractions are out of the way, let's hit the heal spot. Like I said, much better. And the other thing that's really interesting about it too is because you now have that ranged advantage over enemies and it does additional damage, you'll tend to level it up a little faster still because you'll be killing enemies quicker using it. But yeah, at no real risk to yourself at this point, you can slaughter your way through the countryside. Not who I was aiming for, but I'll take it. Rusty. Rusty's already in the triple digits. So much better. I hit something. Probably one of those weird Venus flytrap things. Stay away from the crazy hippo things. Okay. Oh, God. I don't know why I thought I could sneak by that guy. My face gets bashed in, and Rusty's just chilling over there. Why did you do that? Mm-mm. Oh, God. Knife. I swear I'm not wandering around aimlessly. Not completely aimlessly, anyway. now I'm wandering around aimlessly. I missed a path somewhere. Of course, this time it's not going to be petals. See? That's what was missing. There's a chest over there. I don't know what's in it. I wonder how far along I am with the leveling. 42. Alright, so I won't get it before the boss, but... some ruts. That doesn't look good. Oh, hey, man. And this is the other reason that you want to immediately level up the spear when you get it, because the very next boss makes it almost mandatory. Oh, you son of a Salabog. I care not for your minions. All I care about is poking you in the face. Rusty, kill. Not get killed. Continues to take so little damage, it doesn't even matter. Ow. Look at me like that. You bit me. Oh, alright, Rusty got him. Cool. Rusty actually took damage that time. That's funny. Alright, buddy. Feel for him. What? price is worth it. Okay, this fight is starting to drag on, man. What's going on here? Good lord, how much HP do you have? Eat him, Rusty. And he ate him. I have no complaints about how that turned out. Sweet. Without further ado, let's go investigate the volcano. Crazy thing is, I think we're almost done with this little world of ours, or this section of the world anyway. Rusty. Rusty. Thank you. I just don't like the news. I took that full force in the face. That's what you get.
Okay. Hmm. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Alright, we're in there. That is so much easier to fight when you don't have to worry about them running you over. Rusty can one-shot these guys, no problem. Me, on the other hand, not so much. You can actually put yourself out in this place if you don't use the mud peppers in the right places. But as Blimp said, if you ever run out, just come back and he'll give you one. Because you could have accidentally cast it on this one, and then you wouldn't be able to get any further until you go back and see Blimp. Ow! Starting to get rough. Yeah, where'd my dog go? Rusty? Rusty? Come on. Rusty. Rusty! Okay, my dog is dumber than dogs and hammers. Actually, I guess I could cast it on Rusty as well, but... I think that's the only place in here that you can accidentally screw up your progression, though, if I remember right. Just that one spot. Oh no, I suppose you could have wandered back around this way and used it on that one. Doesn't seem to be doing you much good other than the charge, so. That's not terrible. Ow! Walked all the way over here just for that. Dick. Yeah, I just flat out missed him. Get him, Rusty. A long detour just for one mud pepper, huh? And see, even though every once in a while it doesn't seem like it, I tend to try to believe the dog more often than not because he usually is sniffing at something. Usually. I missed items and I don't remember what was in that, but I'm pretty sure I wanted it. Not even the items I was looking for. Ow. Ow. Oh, that was convenient. I actually completely forgot about that you can get a second mud pepper from that guy so you can save yourself later. Ow! Freaking A. Thank you, Rusty. You're truly man's best friend. Oh, hello, secret passage. How novel. I mean, I generally don't tend to want to save in dungeons, but yeah, the one path I just flat out forgot to take. I just forgot to open it also. Alright, let's continue with our mission. Filthy Raptor, come back here and be murdered. Did I I get the bone to level 2, remember? I could do it with the dog, I guess. Oh, no, no! Oh, no! Thanks. Alright, so, which way did we go again? It was this way, and then this way. No, this wasn't it. That is a chest, and that's something. Not this one either. Oil. No. Ow. Raptor just pieced out. Ow. Oh no. This looks ominous. Lots of pipes and stuff in here. rock, you say? Oh. At rock, you say? Like Swole Jurassic Park or something. Ah! Feels bad, man. Ow. Rusty, you have a full charge. Come on, buddy. You're just sitting on a full charge and letting this guy get the better of us. Oh my god. Rusty, come on. They keep rolling, 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 rolling. I'll see myself out. Oh. Wow, you ruined him pretty fast. That went terribly. We got vaulted out of a volcano. We should be dead right now. That's a long waterfall. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game, Pirates of Crustacean. Oh yeah, new treasure chest. Pots. 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 By the way, we are now in Antiquia. I have no money. Oh yeah, new currency is jewels, kids. Jewels. Get with the times. We don't use towns anymore. We use jewels. Since I'm in here, I can show you. Doo-doo. Oh no, he won't come out yet. There's an elevator. Hello. I'm so broke, I literally can't. I appreciate the offer, though. I love how nobody's even remotely bothered by the fact that there's a ghost pirate over there. Oh, look at all this tasty stuff that I'd love to buy from you, and I'm so poor I can't afford it. Ah, it's okay. I could have sworn there was somebody who... Actually, yeah, it's the guy, the general store guy. He should be able to exchange currency. Yeah, change money. 2 to 1? Hey, I'm not too broke after all. Steep, but... Better safe than sorry, or so I've been told. Even though I know I'm going to get better as soon as I get to the other side of the desert. Alright, well, let's go take a little trip. Oh yeah, new enemies. We got crazy dudes in robes, and we got giant, crazy nut jobs with anchors that I can't one-shot. Ideally, I would like to get my spear to level 2 before what's coming, but I don't think I'm going to manage that. Blimp! Dot, dot, dot. Gotta wonder what kind of nightmarish sewer system this place has that the dog could fit through the pipes in the square. Pompolonius, what a name. with a troublemaker. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Always keep levitating. Much as I would love to, I don't have the money to spare right now, so... Okay, so... As far as the desert goes, there's these little oases. And here's that ghost pirate guy, by the way. So there's these little oases that will shield you from the desert. And in the meantime, you best to hope that you can run, because the only way you're getting across this desert is to run. And yes, I am well aware that I could have bought an Amulet of Annihilation in Crustacea down there, but I'm not spending any more money than I have to, and running across the desert really isn't all that bad. All you have to do is make sure that you kind of point yourself north and keep hitting the oases as you see them, because the oases will restore you to full HP, which will negate any of the damage that you've taken as you're running across, like so. I forget how many of them there are, but we can keep a count. That's the third one so far. That's 4. These little things that I didn't do the first time I played through this on stream. Should be coming up on 5 soon. Anytime now. Anytime now. Oh, no, we hit the wall. Cool, that's even better. Welcome to the bazaar, folks. There's a lot of stuff that you can buy here, and I'm not really in the mood to sit down and do that right now. But needless to say, you're gonna need a lot of rice, a lot of rice. And this lady right here is the one that you're gonna want to buy all that rice from, because she sells it the cheapest of anybody in here. And I completely skipped over that. The bazaar's closing in a couple of minutes. Jar of spice for 4 bags of rice or 4 ceramic pots. Rice, 10. Rice, 10. Alright, who has what? You... Closing down in 15 minutes. Souvenir spoon, I don't need that just yet. You sell spice, 20 jewels. No, wait, 20 jewels? You sell ceramic pots, and I know you sell them for rice, but not just yet. Uh, of interest in the bazaar, there are a couple of items that you're really going to want to pick up before you leave. Most of them are down here. The ruby heart is one. He wants a moxa stick, which no, you're not trading, or a jeweled scarab and a limestone tablet, which you can get from trading. So that's what we're gonna do. Helmets. He will give you the obsidian helmet, which is actually a direct upgrade to the helmet that I bought down in Crustacea for 10 jars of spice, which is actually kind of a steal. So I'll buy that. It's a pretty sizable upgrade. There should be multiple pieces of equipment here. There's the moxa stick, which increases your ability to restore your HP. 2 chickens, a jeweled scarab, and 12 jars of spice. A little steep, but well worth it. Sunstone. I forget what this is for. Attack? Limestone tablet and 5 bags of rice, which I don't have yet. And then a little further, this lady is useful. She'll appraise things that you buy in the marketplace. There's a little mini game you can play with her later to make some money. Silver sheath, for those of you friends out there who like to use swords, which I mean they're all right in this game, but realistically the spear's the best weapon. You can buy it; it'll make your sword attacks a little stronger. Trade it to you for a sunstone, yeah right, or a golden jackal and 10 jars of spice. People like golden jackals around here. You have the bronze gauntlet. Souvenir spoon and 2 tapestries. Well, spoons are in the top left, but we haven't seen tapestries yet, so we'll be back. What do you sell? Beads. 10 jewels? No way. You sell rugs. 3 beads per tapestry? That's not too bad. Assuming we can find someone who sells beads cheaper. Oh no, 11 minutes. Armor polish. Armor polish is actually really useful because it's a universal buff that makes all of the armor that you wear a little stronger, so it protects you better. He wants a silver sheath. Silver sheath? I could trade a silver sheath for something that gives you armor. Ooh, a stone vest, you say? Jeweled scarab, just 1? That's not super bad. Amulet of annihilation, huh? 30 bags of rice? I don't have 30 bags of rice, I'll come back. Golden jackal, hey, you sell golden jackals. 5 jars of spice or 2 chickens. I haven't seen anybody who sells chickens yet. Spice though, spice. You sell spice, right? Spice. 20. Ugh, God, no. Oh, you sell silver spoons or silver spoons. What do you sell? Spice. Spice. You sell rice for the cheapest in the bazaar. Let it be known you're going to go through a lot of rice doing this little bazaar thing. I'm not going to bother doing it all now because 1, I don't have the money for it, and 2, I'm not in the mood. That extra mud pepper that I had. Okay. Tiny likes irony. Tapestry from the market? Alright. We'll do that later. What are you selling? No. 6? No. There are actually more merchants in the marketplace. But... spider crawling. Oh god, what happened? Sure. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll buy one. Use your medallion wisely. Some neat stuff you got there, bucko. Alright, so more merchants. You sell limestone tablets, 4 jars of spice, and 2 beads. I need beads. Alright, and what do you sell? Oh, you sell jeweled scarabs. I totally clicked past it too fast. You sell jeweled scarabs for a jar of spice and 2 bottles of perfume. Perfume's something I haven't seen yet. We'll be back. So what are the real points of interest here? I would like that obsidian vest. Let's see, the old guy down here sells beads. 1 bag of rice and 3 jewels. That's the cheapest you're gonna find them. Beads are useful because a couple of people trade bead for spices. And perfumes. So you're going to need to make use of these 2. This guy. Ruby Heart, Moxa Stick, Jewel Scarab, and Limestone Tablet. I already bought the helmet. Moxa Stick is actually really useful, so if you can, try to make sure that you leave with it. Sunstone 2. You're going to end up buying the silver sheath from this guy. It's relatively inexpensive. It's a golden jackal and 10 jars of spice. But you're not doing it for the sake of the silver sheath. You're doing it so you can trade for the armor polish. Spoon and 2 tapestries. Alright, well, in any case. There's quite a few items that you can pick up here. All of them are useful in one capacity or another. But yeah, you definitely want to leave with the armor polish because that's useful throughout the game. Golden jackal, spice and chickens. Magic gourd, egg of an ancient bird. That's a chocobo egg. Alright, so I have 2 spoons. Jar of spice. A jar of spice for 2 beads or 3 ceramic pots. Well, it's easy enough to get ceramic pots because this lady sells them in bulk, so we buy some pots. Actually, you're gonna need kind of a lot of spice too. Oh yeah, that's also a very useful thing to take note of, is that the pots will sometimes have random items in them. Mostly it's just going to be money, but every once in a while you'll find something unique. Pots. 10. I don't have enough rice for that. Alright, so what did I buy? 10 beads? Actually, it's cheaper to buy this stuff with the beads than it is the pots. Oh, I don't have enough. Let's buy one more bottle of perfume. See what we can go buy back over this way. 12 jewels. Oh. 9 jewels a bag. No. One jeweled scarab. You sell golden jackals. What do you want? 5 jars of spice for 2 chickens. You know, I never ran into the lady that sells chickens. I don't remember how much she sells chickens for. So let's go find out. Even though I know she's not down here. You sell tapestries. 3 beads per tapestry. Alright, so I have 3 tapestries. Oh no. The market's closed. Everybody's gone. Alright, well. That's enough fooling around in the bazaar anyway. And I'm pretty sure I cleaned all of that up. Actually, no, I don't think I did. So what's going on here? I don't like where this is going. buy that. No, I didn't buy that. Haha. It is actually quite nice of them to give you a bunch of stuff. Centurion helmet. Thanks, Rusty. What else are you sniffing at? Shouldn't be anything else over here. Well, like I said, waste not, want not. I mean, you're giving me a free pedal, no matter refuse.
This guy is a great hype man. I mean, a great hype man.
This guy literally gets to roll around in a chariot to fight me. Some loser with a stick. Optimism. Gotta love it. Ah! I've taken the upper hand. Please don't murder me. Trap me, I missed. Oh, ow! Ran me over, you bastard. I mean, I guess I can flash him, but that's just inappropriate. Ow! You've used the crowd against me. I don't appreciate that. Oh. Oh, I totally missed him. I missed him again. I'm insulted. This loser with a stick is putting the moves to Vigo over there. Vigor. Vigor. Vigorous. Just put the old 1-2 on him. Ow! Dick. You know what? Okay. I was gonna say something a second ago, but I'm just not gonna say that anymore. I was gonna talk smack. Oh, okay. Okay, now calm down. me over constantly, my god. If I didn't know better, I swear that spear just bounced off me, but whatever. Douche. Like joust. Some loser with a stick just beat your invincible champion. I mean, I appreciate the sword. Ooh, the plot thickens. Alright. So anyway, now that I have actually managed to recover most of what I lost when I did this, I'm going to run like Dora the Explorer back across the desert. I mean, all right, but I am going to run all the way back over there. Oh no. Super dangerous tumbleweed. actually, that little trick that I was telling you guys about before. If you run while holding a level 2 charge, you can effectively run forever. And as the dog is the only one of us with a level 2 charge, the dog is running forever. Here, Bob, I don't know how you got down there, but alright. Now I have to recharge. Well, at least we got to one of the oases. Bye, Bob. Well, look at that. Really? Hey, we made it. Alright, so heal, cure, revive, speed, crush, atlas, flash, levitate. Starting to run out of spell slots here. Okay, so on my previous, on the next stream, what you're going to hear me say is that I ran into a little issue with the first ROM that I was playing. Yes, I'm playing it on an emulator. No, I don't care. I own the game. I've beaten it 1,000 times. But on that particular version of the emulator, there's a little, or not the emulator, it's the ROM that I was using. There's a little issue here when you try to jump across this bridge. But I'm playing on the proper version of it now, so we won't have that problem. So what I'm going to do is end my stream here. 3 hours, 22 minutes. I think that's actually less than I did it in the last time. So, yeah, I'd say this was a good little accidental experiment to have done. So this is Aller0 signing off. I will catch you guys on the next part, which will commence in just a couple seconds. Take care.